senators, it is clear that the Antifa massacre was a ploy by the state of Texas and California. My fellow delegates, it is my suggestion that we bestow emergency powers to President Swan Ronson to protect America. Once Swan Ronson is in his third term, he will disband the IPF, and America will be great again. Howdy. Welcome to another episode of the Couch Gambit podcast. We saw the movie Civil War. It was the movie of all time.
I was Team Captain America. It was
But you're wrong.
politically divided.
Look,
Captain America won.
Only because, as Mikey once
a cheap
referenced,
shot.
because of the cheap shot, exactly.
But it's still, on a technicality, who won? Captain America. Because America always wins.
Anyways,
Yeah, but then he got old and died.
yeah.
Looked like Joe Biden.
Yeah, he did. So anyways, the Civil War movie.
I think I may have liked it better than everyone because I really do want to give it a 7 because there's a lot of really great things on display here.
Absolutely.
There's, again, the action is great, but for the people who think it is like, you guys just like action and none of the political drama, the drama was not the best part about the movie. I don't think everyone can
Political
agree.
drama.
The movie makes a very, very, very strong effort to be as apolitical as possible in a story where it kind of would actually work for once.
Yeah. This is one of those movies where you wouldn't complain about there being politics because you know what you're getting into.
Yes, for people, for people who've watched this for a while or just have watched people like us, look, I'll be the first to admit, I bitch about politics being in a lot of my shows or movies, right? But that's because they're not fucking political shows or movies, right? I'm here to just engage with this story. I don't need bullshit in my films. But if it is going to be a political movie, then you have to have good politics, right? Like Game of Thrones had really good politics.
Very great politics.
Fucking fantastic. If it's a political movie, I need some meat in my politics, all right? Also, Texas and California? In what universe?
Yeah.
What multiverse?
It's so annoying because it just ties into how they were trying to be so apolitical that
Yes.
you just choose we don't want to come across as choosing one side or the other, so we're just gonna take the two most opposite states and combine them and just say it works. It's like you have to have something, dude. You have to have some kind of uniting feature if you're gonna make parallels between our universe and whatever this is. Like, give us something. You have to connect these dots.
And can I get a reason for the Civil War? Like, really, guys, okay, thinking about the movie, what was the reason?
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. Everyone's talking about this war that's going around them, but no one's talking about why the war is happening.
Yeah. It's fine because I enjoyed the fact that the movie was very apolitical in aspects. And you can do that and do it really well. But the problem is there still needs to be motivation. And that was what was sorely lacking. You've obviously created an America, an alternate America, essentially, is what I think that they were going for. And if you're going to do that, fine. And if you want to stay away from like the modern day politics and try it and make it like you can like read between the lines, do that, and that's fine. And I enjoyed that part, but the problem is the motivation wasn't there. And I do think there is one reason the movie didn't get into that is because they were thinking of like, this war has been going on for so long, the original reason why we did it sometimes gets lost in war. And I get that, but they didn't even make that point, I felt. That didn't run home as well as I think they wanted it.
And if you wanted to do the whole California and Texas seceding, I think putting them together doesn't really work with the real world context behind it all. If you wanted to actually bring up the political differences between those two states and express different reasons for them trying to separate from the rest of the United States, I think that actually would have been a lot more effective if they were paired against each other and it was just an all-out civil war of not even just the United States, but Texas and California. It's just all over the place.
Hi, welcome back from the edit. You don't know what happened. You don't need to know what happened.
It stopped recording for some reason.
That was what it was.
There, I said it.
Cool. Thanks. You revealed it all to the world.
Liam took off his pants and started running around the studio naked.
I really enjoyed some individual scenes. I want to talk about one, Mr. Todd. Mr. Todd, Mr. Redneck, red glasses,
he's always a
red
bad
on hands.
person, isn't he?
He's always a terrible human being.
He's always
He's
just like,
disgusting, bad guy. Does Charles do the thing?
Based.
Thing. Kind of American.
Chills.
Hong Kong. It's such a good scene, dude.
Michael's Asian. He can do that.
I'm sorry.
We got a gun here. For
I
that
do like that
specific
scene, but Hong Kong.
That's oh my god, dude.
Is this your colleague? Yes. Boom.
Dude, I jumped. Dude, they built the scene, the tension in that scene
perfectly.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Even from like knowing the trailer and all that, knowing that it's gonna be a lot of tension. Holy crap!
Todd from Breaking Bad, God bless you for being just the same guy you are in everything, and I love you for it. It's great. It was a great scene. It was perfectly built up.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
the dead bodies,
absolutely.
just the silence
Oh my
of the
God,
There was no like
dude.
building up tension. It's just like, again, the movie's so good with just putting you in this situation like, welcome back from the second edit. Michael, go.
The one where we all shoot ourselves.
I seriously.
I'm going to after this.
Yeah, no, the scene itself was fantastic. I don't really have much in the way of complaints other than like minor things. Like I was kind of dumb of him to say Hong Kong, but I get it. He's scared. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It adds to the scene, if anything.
He was freaked out. I
yeah.
think that I just think that the first thing that came to his head, he said, and obviously it's going to be the truth. It's going to be the first thing that he says, and just like that, like like what if one of y'all got shot in front of me? I wouldn't know what to say. Like my immediate reaction, I wouldn't be able to control it.
Especially
well,
like his brother, man. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
A little bit of uncomfortable humor there, just because of the reaction with the character. You're just like,
Also, the acting for everybody was on point. That was dude. To be able to act out panic is like I mean, I've tried to do it. It's hard to do.
No, honestly,
True, genuine
performances
panic.
as a
They
whole,
nailed it.
The performances
Really
as
good.
a whole are good.
Yeah, like-
I can't really think of anyone like any particular like minor / like major character that was bad in their role. Really.
oh yeah.
The line I thought was a little out of place was when he was hearing the gunshots in the distance, and he made the slight joke about him. It's like, bro, I'm getting hard. Like that line was a little weird.
Okay,
for me.
but then they showed the action, and it's like, okay, I get it. Like if I had been through that over and over and over again, and then I see like out in the distance, like that is going on, and I know what's going on, and I'm like, it's
a
like,
thrill
yeah, I
seeker.
can understand getting that, like not that feeling, but
I can understand getting a raging boner after that.
Dude, they showed the scene afterward in the morning whenever they went out there. It's like, oh, okay,
Imagine
yeah, I
him-
get it. I get it. If you're out there watching like bullets flying and then you're imagining exactly what ended up happening, it's like,
Fair enough.
Bruh, dude, the sniper scene.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Mikey and I love this scene. Okay,
love that one.
The only now. One little, if you guys want to call it nitpick, it is kind of a nitpick, really. But I couldn't help but chuckle the whole time when they're like, "Yeah, he's a hell of a shot." Literally misses every shot in the scene. How many times did this man or woman fire? It was like 4 times. I don't even remember
something
now.
like that, but he missed every single shot.
Missed every single fucking shot. There's no. Hell of a shot, my ass. Now, if they're trying to imply, like, the guy who was dead, in the middle of the street, like, yeah, okay, he was standing fucking still.
I was
probably.
gonna say they were probably casually walking down the street. Yeah,
but literally, like in the car, not moving, takes a shot, misses, fires again, misses. I mean, come on.
But dude, it was so funny, man, because like a lot of my favorite scenes, and now I am gonna get political because the movie wouldn't. They obviously they portrayed them as more right leaning, using and stuff like that. You're probably gonna have to censor that too, aren't you?
Probably. Thanks, YouTube.
Liberal.
Fucking
It was funny because they used the line and it was fine. Like nobody died. Like in real life, nobody died because they dropped the R word in a major movie.
You didn't get like the I am greater than thou like eye roll from the main characters. They remain neutral in the fact that we are here to capture, we're not here to intervene.
No, honestly, what I really liked is that it really just, I felt as if I was actually watching actual people in the scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally that.
Like they're like just saying immediately what people would normally say in the situation they're in, right? I love how sarcastic they were too.
Oh my God.
That was so great.
It was good.
I love when like I forget his name because again, I'm sorry, but the guy who gets a boner for warfare or whatever. Okay,
Mexican Liam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When he's just like, do you know like who's shooting at us or whatever? And the guy's like, he looks to the chick, like, hey, who's shooting at us? He's like, some asshole with a gun. And then he looks back at us like,
Fair enough.
No.
I was like, because I love is like, yeah, I don't give a fuck who's shooting at me. It's some asshole who's with a gun.
Now, I do want to add on to that. It's little scenes like that I think the movie does incredibly well. Anytime there's character, anytime there's there's moments between people, I think it works effectively. Even if I don't believe the film did well in developing the characters, I think it did a great job in having like the characters talk to each other. For example, and this is something I was talking to you about earlier. I think this film portrays war in a more realistic fashion than most other war films that are based on actual wars do. Because here's the thing: you never are shown about wars is that people kind of just live their day-to-day lives and war's just kind of happening around them. I really liked seeing that. I was just like, it's so nice not seeing everything being over-dramatized because there's a war happening. It's nice to see that people are just like, oh yeah, we know there's a war going on. We just don't like watch the news. The acknowledgement that in reality, war is just kind of something that happens around people and you get adapted to it was something that I was like, finally, that's great to see. I want to see more films do that.
This was where the apolitical part worked because they didn't portray any characters to be just stupid. Because normally with, especially a left-leaning movie, they're going to portray the right-wingers, the hicks and all that as just stupid people. Like somebody who would drop the R word. Generally, somebody who's portrayed like that would be a satirical representation of that kind of person. Or like Todd. They didn't ever call him a racist or anything like that. And they never portrayed him to be stupid. He was just...
a bad person.
A bad person, but also like a... don't give a fuck kind of person. Yeah. And it was again, it just felt real. It felt like you were watching real people.
I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in retrospective because I didn't really care necessarily for the scene when I was watching it, but like thinking back on it, and if I watched the scene again, I probably would have this opinion. I really liked like the trying on the dress scene with Kristen Dunst's character. I thought that was the one scene not necessarily missing, but I really needed for her character. And it's not a scene that over explains anything. It just has a scene of her trying on a dress, and I got everything I needed to from her in that scene. I thought she played it perfectly. I thought it was perfectly nonverbal in the aspect of like we don't know what this dress means to her. Right. We just can see from her reaction and what she's trying on that there's some history with this, or maybe it's just a moment for her to feel a little bit normal. I like that element. I thought it was wonderfully executed. I thought it was great.
I really appreciated that. They also didn't have her. They made it clear she was like the kid bought the dress or something like that for her. She didn't buy the dress herself or anything like that. Like it's little stuff there that just, I don't know, man. It hits so much better. I can imagine them in the writing room where they originally had her walking out of there with the dress, and somebody was like, why don't we make the kid buy the dress for her? It's like, perfect. Develops the kid's character, develops her character. I like it. I just like it. I don't know.
I think it's a great scene.
It just works.
It really is.
Then I show up wearing a hat, and it's just...
Yeah, and then Liam shows in the scene wearing a hat.
I like so she does not want, nor does she like her picture being taken.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I
man.
thought that was...
That's
like
always being behind the camera, not in front of it.
Yes.
Man, so
100%.
good.
Yeah. But the other thing... I could be wrong, but I'd like to think that when for most people when they're getting their picture taken, your go-to thing is to smile. That is not her go-to thing, right? And me, like it just goes to show that like I think like deep down she's not a happy person.
No, well, yeah, that photography isn't. It's a different kind of art form for her.
Yeah,
and she doesn't view it as like a portrayal of somebody posing for a picture. It's it's
something that's real,
gritty humanist sort of,
I think it was just an example of you don't need to tell me something, you can just show me.
There's this sense in the cinematography that it is like a photographer looking through a camera, like the shots of the film, the actual like cinematography of the film looks like someone is about to take a photo. And I couldn't help but notice it as I was watching it, especially when it came to the point of view of the little girl. I noticed that, like, because older film lenses typically have this halo, that it would go to a much softer, more like exposed image, and it would cut to another shot from the perspective of someone that uses a digital camera, and it would be a little bit sharper and a little bit more. It's just small detail. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just something that I noticed.
It's funny you should mention that. Have y'all ever heard of somebody named Andy No?
No. Oh my gosh.
Andy, no?
No,
I
but
haven't.
yeah.
Andy No is a real life photographer and videographer who would go out to Antifa riots and Black Lives Matter riots and stuff like that and get shots. He is credited in the movie for providing B-roll to them.
Really?
No
There was
way.
real footage that Andy No took that they used in the movie.
That's incredible.
Oh, and he was slandered as like a right-wing journalist and stuff like that, and he's just not. He was just out there documenting it.
That's also interesting that they used him for a Hollywood production, especially because if he was like held to that right wing standpoint.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It's dude, this movie surprised me in a lot of different ways, and that was one of the big ones I wanted to talk about.
The final battle, though, was so cool. It was, bro, when the helicopter was fucking gunning shit down. Oh, man.
They scaled it up perfectly because they
Yeah.
would start off with them following little skirmishes, and then it'd grow a little bit bigger, and then they'd throw in the helicopter, and
Yep.
then it'd get a little bit bigger. So they weren't having to top each other, like top these different scenes off.
And there was the
with-
tank.
Well, yeah, they had
Tanks.
they started with the rocket launcher
Yeah.
first, and then the tank came in, and they didn't just have the tank like roll up around the corner. They would show it kind of rolling in
Yeah.
from down the street, and it was like, oh, here it comes,
Yeah.
here it comes,
That-
boom.
That really was the best way to do it for this particular film,
good.
given the fact that a lot of the other fights in the film were on a much smaller scale.
Yes.
If you were to just jump from small scale to big scale, it would
Right.
have been very jarring.
And you can tell what's happening. You can tell that the forces are converging because they mentioned that they had the Florida forces coming in from one area and the Western Front coming in from the other, and they had different uniforms on as well. And then they had the actual scene of when they merged together, and they're like, "We're here to help. What do we need to do?"
Yeah, and also while this incredible spectacle is happening, you also see our main character like breaking down, which again, like at first I mean I was surprised by it, and then I was like, okay then, and I enjoyed it, and I also like how the other the younger chick was basically just taking all the shots basically.
Yep.
That maneuver she always does when as the soldiers she's with are engaging in like suppressing fire, she basically will go from one cover to the next in constant motion to take shots.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's been doing this for a while, and she knows that like, okay, now is the perfect time to try to take shots, right? Because most people are not going to leave cover while they're getting shot at. Then you finally get to like the last moments of the movie.
Oh, boy.
Where that young chick, she's like, she goes to do the same maneuver that Lee does, except the major issue is that the soldiers aren't shooting. They're not firing their weapons. So when she goes to do that, the Secret Service guy rounds the fucking corner and he's fucking about to shoot her. And what does Lee do?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I know I was just praising it, but I'm sorry. This is really dumb. When Lee fucking gets in front of her, grabs her, right? And she pushes her down, and then she's looming over her like a fucking evil overlord.
You got Gmod T-pose. Like
Yes.
God.
Gmod
Just
T-pose.
T-posing.
And then she gets fucking... Now, the scene where she gets shot and they use like the like camera images.
Yeah,
like,
the actual
Oh my
like,
God, it was so
film.
good.
it was so
That,
good.
that was fantastic.
It was great. But the way we had to get there...
so
was really
annoying.
fucking stupid.
I talked to Liam about this earlier, and this might have been too over the top, but we had talked about the scene that could make it better. You can talk about the Kevlar in a second, but when she was standing up and they were doing the picture thing of her dying, as she's taking the pictures, her head just like boom, boom, it just explodes,
Yeah,
and she's just covered in blood.
Because
At that
it's
point.
kind of implied that she was shot in the back and she's wearing a Kevlar vest.
Yeah.
So how did she die from
Yeah.
that?
Also, when they were-
and there was never any mention of any special ammunition that
Yeah.
could go through a Kevlar vest. I want to add to it, what made Lee's death a little bit more unsatisfying is the fact that they kind of just move on
I
real
liked
quick.
that.
I
I think that
actually,
they.
I agree. I didn't
I-
like it. I didn't like it.
I
thought it was
actually
too
think,
fast.
no, I think it does work in the movie's favor because it especially I think it builds on the male reporter's character because when he's not in the middle of the job, because again, so when the fat man died, right, he was fucking screaming and he was enraged, okay, fucking displaying all his grief, right? And he didn't care that people were all around him, right? But when he's on the job, right, like he is just fucking razor fucking focused.
Yep.
At least with the younger woman, she's frozen, right? Like she doesn't know what to do, and he's the one who basically pushes her to like, we have a job to do. Lee's gone. I need you to take the shot.
But we didn't get that scene, and I needed that. I needed more of an emotional response from the little girl. I needed more of a reminder of their connection.
Well,
I thought I moved on too fast.
No,
man.
because when someone, I feel like it's okay. First off, they're not even, they don't know each other that well, anyways.
Yes, but at the
Right?
very least, the movie has given them a connection.
Yeah, the movie actually did spend time on at least trying to develop their connection, and again, from going back to earlier, I don't think it was particularly well done. But if you're going to try to establish that connection, to have her just kind of be like, "Oh, she's dead," and walk, it's fucking stupid.
No,
man.
no,
It is fucking stupid.
And I think it just shows that, like, again, she's in shock, right? When someone
Right.
you know,
That's exactly right.
or like when someone dies in front of you. Again, one of two things: either yes, you know, you're crying or whatever, right, or you are in complete shock, especially when it happens in such close proximity.
And it's your fault. Yeah,
And it's your fault.
100%.
I think the
Totally
reaction
agree.
is more than fine. The reason why I brought up the whole, you know, she doesn't know her that well is because if you're trying to make the argument that she would like cry over her dead body, I don't think she would necessarily do that.
I don't think so either. I think you're right in that, but I needed more.
No,
I
yeah,
needed a longer
I'm not-
scene.
I did not get the feeling of the shock factor. I got this feeling where she just was like, "All right, now we're moving on. Let's kill the
Yeah.
president." I didn't get that sensation of
Like the shock
genuine-
needed to be longer too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
it,
needed-
it lasts like that. It's gone. It's like gone in a second.
It ends very quickly. Like they really realize, like, we're running out of time. We got to end this
It
movie
was basically,
quickly.
we overspent on our budget. We can't hold on this scene too long. Go shoot the president.
Yeah, no, I
couldn't disagree more.
I'm
I-
sorry.
that's
like,
fine.
like, yeah,
you
like,
get the conveyance, like you get the fact that like she's in shock, right? And the reason why they immediately move on is because it's him. He's the one who, again, he is focused on the job. That's who he is. He cares about his work. And even though a close friend of his died, like, again, he's probably experienced this plenty of times before anyways.
I think the main problem is that since like 3 more seconds just to hold on
A little longer, a little longer.
because here's what happens is even if you're trying to capture that emotion, the way in which that scene is delivered to me felt too casual.
Do we have closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
my rating I think might be higher than all y'all's probably. I think it's I originally agree with you, 6 out of 10. I think it's a 7. The more I think about the movie, I really actually really enjoyed it. That was
7.
good movie.
Yeah, most of my like negative, it's not even negative, just the lackluster is just because there's no backstory on the war, and that's what was bringing it down for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but whenever you take a step back and realize that's just not what they were going for with the movie. They didn't want to focus on the Civil War. For what they were going for, maybe a 7. For what I would have wanted out of it, I'd have to go with a 6.
Fair enough.
I want to be doing this in ill faith and just say like 2. But, but
That would be
No,
being contrarian.
no, yeah, that's just me wanting to be contrarian. If I had to take a look at it, 6 seems like an appropriate rating. It's a fine movie. It has a lot of fun war scenes. It does the war scenes very well. The character moments are done well. The character development I don't think is that great, but the character moments are great. It's kind of a weird
I agree. Yeah.
middle ground for me.
Guys, those are our kind of short thoughts on the film. Hope you enjoyed the video.
This might have started a civil war with the Couch Gambit podcast.
That's why we're armed. You won't be seeing us anymore because one of
We'll
us
be
might
seeing
die.
half of us.
Seeing half of us.
And roll that
Watch out.
intro.
It's going to be the 2 ones with guns. We'll just say that right now.
Hey, thanks for watching the Couch Gambit podcast. If you like what you see here, why don't you give us a like and subscribe? And tell us in the comments, what kind of American are you?